Hey, welcome back, guys. Okay, this is going to be part two. We're going to go over some more um, kind of intermediate to advanced things. We're going to be working on a health and damage system, and we're going to do it a little bit different than what you guys may be used to. I like to somewhat keep my characters tidy, so I like to use components, actor components, for a lot of things. For those of you who don't know what an actor component is, technically, right here, the Anim Master, AGR Anim Master is a character component. Character movement is technically a character component. So these are just things that hold extra logic that we're not going to have to put here in our character graph. So that's going to be the first thing that we're working on is getting our health and damage component up and running, okay? Because then now we can use that for a litany of things, and it's shared logic that we can use across the board with every character and even non-characters. We can start giving things health values, and we can even make some logic on what to do if it's not a character. And I'll show you some cool tricks that maybe you're not aware of that you can do in order to get references from the owner of the character component, to get references from the actor component from your character to the actor component, so you're able to do some extra cool things there. So without further ado, we'll get into it. So I had some of the last things that we worked on opened up, so I'm just going to close those so you can ignore that, and go ahead and open up your BP third person character. And what we're going to do here, like I said, we're going to work on our component first. So you go ahead and add component, and then we're going to add a new blueprint component. So as you can see here, we have a couple of different components that we could have added to our character, but we want the actor component. Okay, so we're going to call this health and damage. And we're going to put it, and I guess we can get it, let's call it a AC, actor component health and damage, and we'll put it in our blueprints. Alrighty, we can get rid of this event tick. We're not going to be using that all. So one of the first things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting the owner of this component. Who owns this? Who is this component attached to? That's going to be the owner, and that's going to give us access to a lot of the owner's information and things that we need. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to use some of the inherited logic that's built into actors. Okay, and one of the things that's built into it is actors can take damage. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So we're going to bind an event. Let's bind on take any damage. Alrighty, we're going to connect that up to begin play. Okay, so we're gonna bind this event. So anytime that the owner of this component takes damage, we're going to do something. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an event. All right, so now you got this cool thing here. Just drop down, and we're going to create an event, create matching event. We'll call it event any damage. All right. I'm a stickler for that type of stuff. All right. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need some variables, and did not mean to do that. I apologize. I'm going to turn off inherited variables. We don't need to see any of that stuff. Okay, we're going to need some variables that we're going to be using across the board with this. Alrighty, so some of the first variables that we need are our health variables, and a variable just to know if we're dead and if we can die. Can we be killed? Alrighty, so the first variable we're going to need is current health. That's very, very important to know, and that's going to be a float. Alright. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this under settings, and then if you do the up and down, I don't even know what that thing is called. It's above your enter key. If you hold shift and push that button above your enter key, that will give you a subcategory to put this under. Anything after that. So our subcategory is going to be health. Alrighty, and this variable is actually going to be replicated. We need everyone to know what's going on. We need to replicate this up from the client back to the server. So we need to know that. And that our current health value, we're going to start off with 100 health. We're also going to make this public. So we'll show you what that does in just a moment, okay? Alrighty, so we got that. And next, let's just make this easy on ourselves. Since this is a float, just go ahead and Control W to duplicate this. And we'll call this max health. And then you can also Control W again. And is dead. And we will make this a bool. And that actually does not need to be public because nobody's going to just start dead. Nobody does that. So we don't really care for that. And also, can he die? Can die. That is a valuable question to know. And this actually doesn't need to be replicated. But this can also be public. We can let people know if you have something that's invincible or not. Alrighty. And we're going to do another set of things. We're gonna make this a new set of variables. I won't be under settings. This will be something different. Alrighty, so we'll call this mesh, and this is actually going to be a skeletal mesh. Alright, so you're going to get a slew, and let me put the space in there. So you're going to get a slew of things here that have to do with the skeletal mesh. You'll have the actor, you'll have the actual skeletal mesh. We want the component. Alrighty, and then we will, by default, since it already knows this is a component, it'll make its own category to put it under. And that's fine and dandy, but let's give us another one called references. Okay, because we're going to be making these are the references that we're going to use to get some things. Alrighty, so then after that we're going to need you can just duplicate that, and we're going to change that, and we need capsule collision and name it so. And compile. I'll duplicate again. We need the spring arm, so we'll search for the spring arm, and we want the component. Alright, last one. We need the character movement. If I can spell. So go ahead and search for character movement and component. Alrighty, so we just made those references there. So before we forget, since we just did that, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our third person character. Alrighty, and we're going to go to our construction script. Okay, and let's add a call to our parent. It's a good idea to always do this, just in case there's some logic you have going on in the parent-child hierarchy that you don't want to miss out on. So if you're not sure if there's something important that you're missing, call to your parent just to make sure that you're getting that logic in there. And then you can go more in depth if you search for that. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in here, and we're going to search for mesh. Oh, not forget. Now we need to set our mesh. Alrighty, and we're going to set that here, and we need to set our capsule collision, and you get our capsule here. Need our spring arm, set that, then we can get our spring arm here. And lastly, well, maybe lastly, what do we need? We need our character movement, yeah. Get your character movement there. Alrighty. So, what did we just do here? What we did, and again, this is probably pretty obvious for people who are more advanced users, but so we have these references here, and these don't actually, they're not set to anything right now. So what we did is whoever's owning this, now we have direct access to these particular, to this particular character's, these references. So it's pretty cool because now we're going to be able to do some pretty interesting things directly within the component since we have direct access to this character now, to some of those things. Alright? So we will go back and we got a couple more things that we need to do. Alrighty? So we're going to start a new, we're going to start a new event. Alrighty, and this event's going to handle adjusting our health values. Okay, so I know we have that here, but that's just this here, and we'll get to it in just a moment. We got to get to a few more things before we fill this event out. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to add event. Well, didn't mean to do that. Add custom event. Alright, and we'll call this. I'll just call it just health. That's fine. We're going to run this on server, and we're going to make this reliable. Okay, so what we need is we need a couple of input pins. We're going to need a float, and this is going to be the value of whatever's coming in, be it damage, or could even be a health pack giving us more health. So we'll just call it value for now. And then we need a damage causer. We need to know what's causing the damage. Was it an act? Was it another player? Was it something environmental? And that can just be an actor. It's your basic run-of-the-mill actor. And then we'll add another one, and damage type. And if you haven't dealt with damage types, don't know how much we'll get into it here, but we can do some cool things such as, you know, fire damage, lightning damage, things like that. We can make some custom attributes of what those damages do, and then we could even do something interesting like if you're killed by lightning damage, maybe we'll make a material that makes you dissolve or something like that. So we could do some interesting things with that. So what we're going to do for now, alrighty, we need our current health, and we are going to add that to the value coming in, and you'll see in a minute why we did it the way that we're doing it. Alrighty, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to clamp this float. Alrighty, and the max is going to be our max health value. Then we need to set this as our current health. Alrighty, so this value coming in, say it's a negative value, so now it's going to turn this negative as well, so we're going to be losing health if we got a negative value coming in, such as taking damage. Alright, and this actually didn't need to be replicated. We can unchange that. We don't need to send any more data across bandwidth than was absolutely necessary. Alrighty, so the next step that we can do is, can this character even die, or the owner of this, and I'll make a branch, and we're going to say yes, he can die, and we're going to check to see if he is dead. If he's dead, he's got to have 0 or less health, so we'll set this. If he has 0 or less health, then he is dead, and then we'll do a branch. And if he's dead, we're going to make a new event that will handle dying. So add custom event, MC for multicast, because we want everybody to know this is going to happen. So we're going to do a multicast death. Alrighty, and multicast. Everybody should know that everybody's dead. So if you get shot, my character wants to know that your character got shot and killed. It would be silly if only you saw that, but no one else sees it. So you're So we want everybody to know that. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do is let's handle how we do death. So let's make a new function to handle that. We'll call this function death. Death. Alrighty. So this is where we get to see some cool stuff. Alrighty. One thing that we do want to do that I haven't done yet is, we can close that for now. Yeah, we can close this as well. We want to know, is the owner of this component, is it a character? And the reason why that's important is because if it's not a character, and what I mean by character, I mean someone with like a skeletal mesh. Say for instance that we had a turret, and it doesn't necessarily have a skeletal mesh. It could just be a static mesh. So some of the logic that I'm about to do for ragdoll here wouldn't apply to that because it's just pardon me, because it's just a static mesh. So we wouldn't want to do that same logic. Okay. So pardon me, I'm still getting over the 60s. I've been all sick. It's not fun. Alright, so first we're going to handle this as if it is a character, okay? And we will make that public. We'll make that public again. Alright, so what we're going to do is, since we got all these handy dandy references, let's get our capsule. And we are going to set collision enable. We want no collision. We don't want our capsule colliding with anything. And then let's get our handy dandy mesh. Set collision profile name. So we got a pretty cool profile called Ragdoll built into the engine that can handle certain things. And then we'll set simulate physics. And we'll simulate. Okay. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that you're not moving when you're dead. You should not be able to move. So we're going to set movement mode to none. Alright, and the next thing that we want to do, because if you haven't noticed, if you played around with ragdolls or anything like that, and let me do that. So we're going to get this. Do a collision test. We're going to set that, and we want to make sure that's false, so it's not colliding with anything. And then what we want to do is attach component to component. Alrighty, and our parent component is going to be our reference to our mesh. And we want to look at our pelvis. Okay, the reason why we did this is because under normal circumstances, when your camera is not attached to anything after you've died and you've gone spring armed and you've gone ragdoll, it's really hard to focus on the character. You're kind of all over the place. So we want the camera to still be able to focus on your ragdoll character, because there might be some cool stuff that you just want to see. Like if you get blown up to smithereens and your character's flying doing all these flips and stuff, that makes for some pretty entertaining streaming clips if you want to stream or anything like that. So we just want to make sure we're capturing that action and you have control over that. Okay. So one of the things we got to ask ourselves, again, what if the enemy I have this attached to doesn't have these things? Because if it's an AI character, what does he need a spring arm for? What does he need, some of these things for? So if he's not, once again, if we ask some things, let's ask ourselves a couple of things. Let's get our owner first. And let's get component by class. And let's check for our AC, health, and damage. Is it valid? Does that character actually have this? If it does, but it's not a character, all we're going to do is destroy actor and destroy components. So simple. So if you had a turret or something like that, and we blow it up, all it's got to do is die. We're just gonna destroy it. Okay, so we got death taken care of. Now one of the other things that we want to do is let's go back to see what we got going on. So we got adjust health going on here, and we need some more happening. So, and we need to finish our multicast event. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do from here is let's bring death out. And one thing I did forget to do is this. We need a couple of inputs here. We need some information. So 2 inputs. Who killed? Who killed me? It's good information to know. I want to know that just in case we do something cool with the HUD. And what killed me? I want to know these things. That's important information. Alrighty. So we got that. Plug that in here. Plug that in there. Plug it in here. Alrighty. Multicast death. Alrighty. And what we're going to do is we'll make one more event. Trigger add custom event. Let's trigger death. Alright, let's get is dead. And we'll set that to true because we are dead. We are dead as a doorknob. And let's call multicast death. MC death. And let's add these events or this information back to it. Okay. And now we got some good information to know to trigger death. We know who caused the damage, and we're gonna know the damage type. Alrighty. Adjust health and die. Trigger death. Alright, so what's going on here now? Let's see if we can finish and round this out. Okay, so we need a little bit more information now. Okay, we need to know, how do we handle damage being taken? What are we gonna do with that? How do we get that information to adjust health? Well, let's tidy it up a bit. Let's make it a function for that. Damage taken. Okay, and so we need to know the amount of damage coming in. And that'll be a float. We need to know who did it. That'll be an actor. And again, we need to know the damage type. Alright, so damage causer, damage type. Okay. So obviously, to be damaged, you're probably not dead. So let's put that condition in. I only want to damage people who aren't already dead. Now that doesn't mean that I can't still like apply physics to kick your dead body or something like that. Okay? And I want damage to have a negative effect on your health or anything that I'm doing to you. Okay, so where does that sound familiar? Let's get our adjust health function. Alright, so that value coming in is negative, so it's going to turn that current health negative. We're gonna lose some health when this event's called. Alrighty, so this is a little redundant, but let's just definitely make sure that you're not dead. And let's call damage taken. Okay. The damage causer name. We don't have an instigator. There we go. So we got some damage taken. And I believe that's all we have for the moment within this component. But never know. I make mistakes all the time. Alright? So the next thing we're going to do is let's go back to our third person character. Let's just click on mesh here. Now let's go to our skeletal mesh. Alright, let's hit the skeleton tree. And let's find our right hand. Okay? And what we want to do from here is let's go to preview animation. And it should be up top if we named it the right way and you don't have any special animations that I don't have. Third person ADS. Sorry, aiming down the sight here. And let's right click on our hand right. Let's add a socket. Alright, we're going to get this long convoluted name here. We just want to name this muzzle. And we want to, we are in local space. We want to go to world space. And we'll pull that out a little bit. Alright, there we go. So, this will be the origin of our projectiles or line traces. Okay. So, we made our shoot input action earlier, so we want to do that. And we are going to make a new function. Shoot transform. Alright, and what we're going to do from here is let's get our follow camera. Let's get the world location. Let's get the world rotation. Let's get the forward vector. Where's my camera facing at? Where's it looking? Let's get the forward vector of that. Let's multiply that. And let's multiply it by a float. And let's make that float local. So we're going to promote this to a local variable. Let's keep our variables as tidy as possible. Certain information, and I was going to type tidy. Trace distance. Alright, and we'll give this a pretty good about. Alright, and then we want to add these together. And again, as I mentioned, this is kind of geared towards more intermediate and advanced users. So I would assume that you guys know what's going on here. So I'm not going to put too much explanation into this. And let's make this a local variable too. And I'll show you why here at the end. This is going to be our end trace. And again, we'll keep this nice and tidy. And we'll do line trace by channel. Alrighty. And let's trace against camera, because by default your mesh and your capsule component ignore visibility. Make array, and we're going to ignore ourselves. And just for tracking purposes, we will do a line trace and we'll check the duration of it. Okay, so the start of our line trace is going to be the world location of our camera, and the end is going to be that multiplied by the forward vector of where we're looking. Okay. Alright, so the next step is we're going to break this. And we're only going to do something if we actually hit something. Alright. So, what we need to do, and I was a little bit premature on that, we will do another local variable, impact point. Alright, and we need some information. We need to know the location of our muzzle socket. Yeah, I'm sorry, we just called it muzzle. And we will also promote that to a local variable. Let's clean that up a little bit. Alright. So now we want to find the lookout location So let's get our muzzle location and our impact point. And we're going to find the look at location, our rotation between these two. And we're going to make a transform. Okay, do that, and then we can duplicate that. Yeah, let's make a return node. Yeah, it'll be this value here. And we'll name this transform. Okay. If we don't hit anything, copy and paste this. If we don't hit anything, then we want the trace end. Oh, and I didn't mean to do that. That should be impact point, not muzzle, not double muzzle location. So, impact point. If those of you who missed that, I set both of these to muzzle location. Target should be the impact point. Okay. Alrighty, so what we're doing is we're just shooting a line trace from our camera to the middle of the screen, and then we're going to use what we're looking at with our muzzle location to get a transform. So we can use this to fire projectiles off and things like that, or we can just use it for line trace weapons, which we're doing right now. Now, with that being said, we're not actually, pardon me, we're not actually doing any damage or anything in here right now. So let's rectify that so we can test some things out. Let's make add custom event server line trace damage. Alright, let's apply damage. Who's the damage actor? What's the base damage? Who caused it? Who did this? Who caused it? What was the type of damage? And we will make this reliable. We want to make sure that damage is being calculated properly. Alrighty, let's go back to our shoot transform. And yeah, we'll do. Since we hit something, apply. Nope. Server line trace damage. Alrighty, who's hurt? Your damage actor is going to be who got hit. What's the base damage? We'll do 25. Who caused this? Get controller. So the current controller of the spawn is the one who instigated this, and the causer can be self. Now, where this comes into play is say that we have a gun, and we wanted to do something cool with the HUD where every gun has its own image or something like that. So we would need to know who the damage causer is, and then from there we could, cast and get damage causer call sign or something like that to get the Steam call sign and things like that. It's just another way to pass some more information. And damage type, we don't care about that right now. Okay, so theoretically, this should be causing damage right now. If we were to test this out. So let's first, where's our camera at? What's going on with our camera? Let's do something different with our camera. I don't think it's gonna look very nice. Alrighty, so let's move this around a bit. Where are we at? Okay. Yeah, this won't do. Let's get rid of this. Alright, we're gonna do 85 and the Y. And we're gonna do 45 in the Z axis. I'm gonna put it right over your shoulder, okay? And also, just so you guys can see, let's tidy this up a bit. Actor components. move that there. Alrighty. And so let's go ahead. Let's make a HUD. Just gonna be a basic HUD. Gameplay HUD. Okay. What we're gonna do here. I don't know if you guys dealt with HUDs very much, but we're gonna go here. We don't need any of this. Event, receive, draw HUD. Okay. We're gonna draw a rectangle. Let's make it white so we can see it. Alrighty. And our HUD is going to be drawn against our screen, so we want half of our screen. Yeah, we'll duplicate that, and let's divide this by 2. So our screen is going to be divided by 2 both ways. We'll connect it there, and the width and the height also. So 2, 2. Okay. So let's see what's going on. Alrighty. If you guys deleted this guy, put him back in. And actually, let's double check our health. Did we do everything that we needed to do here? No, there's one more step we can do here. So we're gonna delay. Let's add a delay here after MC death. Let's promote this to a variable. This will be your respawn delay once we get into respawning. If we even do. Get the owner. Destroy actor. And destroy component. I think that will finish this up here for now. Our respawn delay will be 6 seconds. And if we didn't do that, you'll see why in a second. But anyways, so if you guys deleted him, just for testing purposes, put him back in there. And our net mode, let's play as a listen server for now. Let's do 2 of us. And let's test this out. Oh, never mind. Go back. Made a mistake. Alright, go back to your world settings. And let's change our game mode to GM. Third person game. So let's change our HUD to our gameplay HUD that we made. Okay. Alright, let's try again. Alrighty, as you can see, our camera is offset pretty good, and we should have. Oh god, we got the exorcist going on. Our head can go all the way around. We gotta fix that. Anyways, so we have the little marker in the middle of our screen. Okay, and oh, of course nothing's happening because we're not calling that anywhere. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So, anyways, let's go ahead and bring out shoot transform. And when we press, we should shoot. And let's give us an indication of how much health we got going on here. So let's do print screen. Back in your health component. I know that's nasty, but I don't care right now. Okay, and let's make sure. By default, we're not dead by default. Why is that the default? That shouldn't be. No, it's not the default. Change that. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, there we go. So we're shooting at the middle of the screen. Alrighty, let's see if we can throw some hate at this guy. Oh, he took 25 damage. Oh no! What's going on? Why did he just die? That shouldn't happen. He should have went ragdoll. Why was that a thing? And that's because we didn't designate him as a character. Is character. Yes, he's a character. Okay. Let's go back. One, two, three, four. Oh, look at that. He's dead. Nice. Alrighty. Now can the client kill the server? Yes, he can. Alrighty. So, again, our intentions aren't necessarily to make a multiplayer game, but like I mentioned, it's always better to go in with the idea of this possibly being multiplayer than trying to add these things later. It gets way more difficult. So we have functionality for a complete single player game if we wanted to. It doesn't matter if we're doing things that can be used in multiplayer in a single player game. So we're able to do a lot of things. We got a good basis here for PvP, PvE, things like that. So it's a good start. Next, what we'll be getting into is I don't think we'll get to respawning yet. We'll probably get to some AI stuff and some things that you can destroy. So we'll get there. But I hope you guys are having a good time and enjoying what's going on. I appreciate your time and spending time with me. If you guys have any questions, any suggestions, or any gripes, anything like that, any way I can get better, just let me know. I appreciate it. Again, thank you guys.